everyone, and happy Manufacturing Monday. We're usually here on a Friday, but this is a special bonus episode because NTMA, if you don't know them, they're the National Tooling and Machining Association. They have a big conference coming up in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm super excited. So we are joined by 3 people who went last year to the conference. They're probably going to go again this year. I hope they do so I can meet them face to face. But please join me in welcoming Ashley, Salim, and Gillen. Hello, everyone. How are you doing this morning?
Great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Good. Well, thank you, Megan.
Awesome. And I just saw you in Florida, Salim, so it's great to see you again. I love that you're everywhere because SPINNR is growing and it's fantastic to see. But I do want to start off with some questions, intro questions. So before we get started, can each of you just kind of briefly introduce yourselves, what your company is, and like what sort of affiliation you have with the NTMA? Ashley, I'm going to start with you first because you're in the top right corner for me.
Okay, great. So I'm Ashley Hunsaker. I'm with HTS Coatings. We're in Madison, Illinois, which is basically St. Louis, but on the Illinois side. So we can see the arch from our parking lot. So that's where we're located. And we do something called thermal spray coating. So we spray paint. We like to say we spray paint with melted metal. So we specialize in wear and corrosion resistant coatings. Yeah, and then we do have a full machine shop too, grind shop too, on our side of our we're like a split shop kind of, and that's why we joined the NTMA too, so that we are part of the NTMA. I'm a newer member, so we joined in January of 2023, so just pretty new, but I love everything about the NTMA, so much so that they asked me to be on the board in the St. Louis region. And so I've been on the board since January of 2024. So again, that's just our connection with the NTMA.
Nice. And well, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And then Salim, do you want to go next? Tell us who you are, what company you are with.
Yeah. So Salim, I'm with the builder machine tools at SPINNR North America. Our company's been around since 1949 in Germany. We've been building mills, lathes from the days before the CNC equipment was around, before computers. And we have a tremendous presence in Europe. And as of a couple of years ago, we have brought that same high quality equipment to North America. The involvement with the NTMA was just a natural one with an organization that is proven to be out there promoting the interests of their members and really aware of what's going on with the precision machining industry in all aspects of it, and the turning, milling, high precision. So I did attend last year the Engage Conference, and I got to tell you, it's a tremendous experience, and we're excited to do it again.
We'll get more into your experience last year, and maybe you can give me some tips too, because this is my first year going and I'm super excited. So we'll dive into that a little later. Also too, for anyone who is tuning in, please make sure to drop your comments. So we already have a couple. We have Nush who's, what up? I'm excited to watch. Me too, Nush. Super excited to see you soon and interview you. And then we have, I'm going to mess up your name. I think it's Jasna. I'm super excited that you are here as well. So thank you for joining. Okay, Gillen, you're next. How are you doing? Can you introduce yourself? Let us know what company you're with and how you're affiliated with NTMA.
Absolutely, Megan. Thank you for having me today. So I'm Gillen Young. I'm president of Custom Tool. We're a Tennessee-based precision manufacturing company. We have 2 locations, one in Cookeville, Tennessee. Our other one is in Franklin, Tennessee. And we've been in business since 2010. My brother and I actually acquired the business from 2 gentlemen that wanted to retire, but didn't have an exit strategy. And we happened along at the same time, at the right time, and made that transaction happen. And so now we've been at it now for over 14 years.
Are you a native Tennessean then? Are you from there?
I am a native Tennessean. Interesting, I actually live in Alpharetta, Georgia. So long story on that, story for another day. But yeah, my current role and involvement with NTMA is I'm actually serving my 2nd term as chairman. And so from, part of the national leadership team, we have a group, a staff in Cleveland under the direction of our president, Roger Atkins. But the executive committee provides the guidance, tactical board guidance for the association. And so I serve as chairman. So yes, I was very involved in the activities last year in Indianapolis, and I will definitely be at Engage in Nashville this year in October.
Awesome. So can you provide a little history then with NTMA? Like, how old is the organization? When was it founded?
Well, NTMA is in our 81st year of existence.
Wow.
So we're one of the older, associations in that. It's amazing of what's happened over those 81 years. And it's something we're very proud of. Certainly, in that length of time, things have changed. And so we're working to stay in touch with the times and evolve accordingly to make sure we're providing the right support and meeting the needs of our members, as well as the entire precision machining industry.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes, especially with the advanced technology. So I think it's a really exciting time to be in manufacturing because of all the things that are going on. But I do want to jump into this Engage conference. So Ashley, I was informed that last year was your first year at NTMA. Salim, it sounds like you have a similar experience to Ashley with it being your first year. So can one of you, either one of you can start with this conversation, but as a first-time attendee, what gave you that specific push to really register for the event?
Ashley, go ahead if you.
Okay, sure. So I had gone to a few chapter events, and I joined in January, and I was still very, very new to the NTMA. But I went to a few chapter events, and they were so well run, and I learned so much. And I was like, you know what? There's this national one going on. And you just don't know what you don't know, and you don't know if a conference is good or not until you actually attend it. And so I was like, well, you know what? It's in Indianapolis. It wasn't too far from St. Louis. I'm like, I'm gonna go. I'll just go see what is going on. And again, I've seen nothing but excellence from the NTMA, so I didn't expect anything but excellence. So it wasn't like I was going to I wasn't expecting it to be a not a good conference. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I went there, and it blew my mind. It was excellent. It was well run. They had plenty of time for networking too. So I think that's really gave me the push, was just try it. Just try it once at least, and see, put yourself out there too. Because I do believe that the NTMA is, if you get involved in it, you will get so much back out of it too. So that was one of the reasons why I went too, was just to get involved more.
And before Salim jumps in here, I do want to offer up a follow-up question. So was there something that happened there that you weren't expecting to happen, or did you walk away with a key takeaway that you weren't expecting to get out of the conference?
So yeah, I thought about that too, and I was like, what was my key major one? And it's gonna sound so kind of fluffy, but really I came away with a network of peers. So it wasn't like a one like to do, but I now have a network of peers throughout the United States that if I had a problem, like even just the other day, I was texting a guy, he's in Massachusetts, and we're texting different things. Hey, we're looking at this for a maintenance program. Or, I use the same ERP system with another girl in far Missouri, we text often, and it's just that. So I came away with a network of peers. So that was my biggest takeaway.
Awesome. Well, Salim, how was it for you as a first-time attendee last year?
It was a great experience. It was my first time there, and I got to tell you that everybody was so welcoming, and not only about coming in and we'll show you where things are, but really engaging, and I was thinking about this when you proposed the meeting here today, the podcast. The name of the event is so appropriate. It's engaging. You feel like you can actually find relevant information and build meaningful relationships with the people that are there. For us, I think that this is just part of what we have to do to listen to what's going on in the precision machining industry, because as a machine tool builder, the risk is to live in a bubble, right? Where you do your own thing, you go to your trade shows, you build your machines, you put all this technology out there. But it is so important for us to be able to listen to what the machine shops, the users, the community is saying. And when they're saying it in an environment like Engage, where they are being open and honest about what their challenges are, what they need, what they expect from you, and for us to find out how we can add value. It was just a tremendous experience. And having been in other events with different organizations, it's not something to be taken for granted. I mean, that engagement, that friendship, that openness is nothing like I've seen in any other organization. So it was a great experience.
Well, aside from the connections and the peers that you connected with, was there something specific that either one of you actually took back to your shops? Like, was there a piece of information, a new technology, something educational that, really helped kind of move your shop towards success or grow even more?
So, so for me, almost like, you're in that bubble too. And so you're just working day to day in the business. And I think what the conference did for me, and I know that that's like the goal, is to come back and do something immediate, but it was almost for me to pull out of the business, and just like not focus so much on the day to day. But we went on a couple of shop tours, and it was just inspiring to see how they did their apprenticeship programs, and they had rooms, aside for training. And I'm like, I want to do that someday. I can't come back in the week and set that up right now, but that's what I want to be in 10 years. I want to have a training program like that. I want to have an apprenticeship program. So for me, it wasn't necessarily a list of action items that I needed to do right away, but it was dreams of what I want HTS to be in the next 10 years. And I think that's what the Engage Conference did for me. And again, we kind of just sat around, brainstormed with each other, and they just give you these opportunities to think bigger, to dream bigger, and I think that's really what I took away. So what I took away was to dream bigger.
Yeah.
So
same here, Megan. And as a builder and a supplier, and I guess we're called an associate member. The sense is that we want to build relationships, networking, maybe get a sale or a deal out of it. But for us, it was a little different. It was more to understand the pulse where the industry is. And one big takeaway from me was, and something that we were wondering about, how people are feeling about the industry. Because these are real people, this is their livelihood. This is where they go to work every day, and they make the investment in equipment or all the other things that are available for their shops. But this is a big deal. So we wanted to understand where they were emotionally about continuing this journey. Also understand how this generational transition, is going for everybody, because we know so many people are retiring, succession planning. There was some mention of that. So how can we fit there? How can we really understand what's important to the shops? And that's really something that I took away from those one-on-one meetings that we were having. Talking to a shop owner, listening to the challenges, the anxiety that sometimes comes with having to, produce and make those investments worth it for them. It's a huge takeaway, and just really understanding where everybody is in the industry on a given year.
And that had to be really priceless from you, because Salim, you and I have had past conversations too with Tony Gunn, who is actually going to be one of the keynote speakers at this year's event. But the North American market is pretty new to SPINNR. You guys were focused in Europe, so that has to be like really vital information for you, right? To really know where this market is versus where the European market is, because it's going to be different, not just on like the skill side of things, but also culturally, right? So that must have been really interesting for you.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating is to find out that, a lot of the challenges are the same. Qualified labor, the support from the establishment, if you would, the government or whatever entity you work with. But how these small family, for the most part, family-owned operations play such a huge role in the big picture. And how the day-to-day can be so challenging, especially, from the perspective of somebody that is perhaps just learning how to make the machine tool business work, or the machining business work for them.
Well, Gillen, I don't want to forget about you, so I'm going to ask you a question around, registration and why people should attend. So as chairman and a longtime member of NTMA, you've had the opportunity to see the conference evolve, like you mentioned earlier in our conversation. So what would you say to a member or even a non-member who hasn't attended an NTMA conference in a while, to really encourage them to register, even non-members too, because some non-members might be hesitant to sign up for organizations like this, right? Or memberships like this, because it's always a budget issue, it seems like, or they might not have time, or it just might be a fearful thing, like a fear factor thing. So what would you say to those individuals? Like, what would your pitch be for them?
Well, first I would say connecting changes everything. And while that's an ad slogan by AT&T, it applies so much to NTMA as well as to Engage. We actually, over the past few years back, we changed the name of the conference in the fall from Fall Conference to Engage.
I like that a lot better.
Well, it is, and that gets to the heart of what we have done over 81 years in the association. Is giving that opportunity for our members to connect and to learn. And Ashley commented to that. Salim commented to that. And that's what anyone attending is going to get, some nugget of information. And I hear that over and over, that you get something. The opportunity to connect outside your local area and develop that national network, that is so valuable. There's another aspect of why getting out, in particular this year, I think is critical. COVID caused a worldwide shutdown. We just went into our cave, really, almost 2 years. And anytime you get sick, recovery can be slow. We were sick with COVID. It took a year or so I call it the COVID hangover. People just weren't getting out. It changed the way we interacted with people. Well, we're past that now. And I think we're all sort of back at full speed. And I think that's more important than ever this year, is to get out and reconnect, because we're people. We need that interaction. And the things that we can learn at these types of conferences, and specifically at what's happening at Engage, I think is going to be refreshing in one aspect, but it's valuable because I'll point out again on Ashley's comment, I've seen it as well from Custom Tool. You step away from your daily activities, it puts you in a different mindset of how you think about your business. You're not having to think, how am I going to make payroll next week, or how am I going to deal with this issue or that issue? It pulls you out. And as a business owner and as a business leader, you've got to be able to think that way. Engage gives you that opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, Salim and Ashley, can you maybe touch on anything, like before you registered the event, was there anything that maybe caused some hesitation for you to register the event, or anything that kind of made you anxious leading up to the conference? So I know, like, when it's for me personally, when I'm a first time attendee somewhere, and I don't think I'm anxious in the fact that I'm like nervous to attend NTMA. I think I'm anxious because I'm super excited to go to a new conference, and it's in Nashville, which is like one of my favorite places to be. So like, I'm just like, yes, I can't wait till this comes around. Did you guys have any of those types of feelings when you registered last year as a first time attendee? And if so, like what were they around?
So, I mean, I think so too. There's always that unknown, you don't know like what you're getting into. But I had already dipped my toe into a few things too, so I had already dipped. And I knew that this was the pool I wanted to get in, you know? So, and then also you know, once you get there, oh my goodness, like these are our people, you know, we're all in the same like manufacturing environment. You know, I've been to other conferences too, where, you know, and you hate to say like you just don't belong. You know, I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't dress in a suit and tie. You know, but these are when you go to the NTMA conference, you are among friends, you're among peers, and like instantly you can feel that they're very welcoming, and there's just opportunity to meet people. So it is just get over that fear, register, and again, like you said, Nashville's a great city, centrally located. You know, it like just sometimes you just got to take the dive in and just try it, and you don't know what you don't know. And you don't know if a conference is good until you go to it. So go to it, and you'll be like me, and you'll register again for this year. So just try it.
Salim, what would you say to anyone then that's like on the fence?
So we all have to make these choices, right? How are we going to invest our time and our money? And if you were asking what was the challenge, okay, is this worth a week of our time to go out there and spend the time with these people? Absolutely. Like she just said, this is our community. These are our people. And I would say to Gillen's point, more important now, because in our country, we are at a time where we're trying to figure out how we're going to revitalize our manufacturing. How are we going to be able to go out there and as a global player, do what we need to do to continue to lead, right? And to go out there into a meeting like this, Engage, and find that you're not alone in this, that there are hundreds of people that wake up every day and fight for the similar objective to what you have, which is to make American manufacturing great, is awesome. Is to feel my team just grew from whatever your team is to 1,000 people, and we all are fighting for the same thing. It's a great feeling, and once you realize that you're not alone in the fight, it will just give you the energy to go back and fight even harder.
Well, we do have Roger chiming in. For all the industry interested in checking out Engage, October 16th through 19th, go to www.manufacturingengage.org. So Roger, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate that comment. But Gillen, you have all the inside news about what's going to be featured at this year's event. So can you tell us what some of the highlights are that you guys have planned for this conference?
Well, first, we have a great staff that's doing an incredible job in planning this event. First, did we say it's in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA? I don't know if you've been to Nashville anytime soon, but it is a happening place. I think Nashville is a fun city. And the way it has evolved over the years, especially the last 20 years, you don't want to miss out. It is that chance to get away. And, you know, it's not just country music. There's all kinds of music. There's people. It's an exciting place. And our venue's just, you know, within a short walk of Lower Broad, where all of this activities are. And it is absolutely amazing there. We're going to have a plant tour going to visit Vaughn Manufacturing. Mark Vaughn was one of our previous chairmen, got a great business there. I think there may be another site trip in the works that I don't have the detail on yet. But, you know, that is one of the things that we work to build into our agenda, where Engage attendees can see what other members are doing. That helps build that learning and that sharing. And you know, our members are always open to share that. We're going to be doing some other insight. We've had a cornhole tournament. That's become a staple. That happens usually on Wednesday night. But this year, we're taking it off site. It's going to be held at the Old Smoky Distillery in Lower Broad. I think there's going to be a songwriter there. It's going to be playing some interesting things. We think the event's going to be outside, and usually October is a good month for weather, knock on wood. But, you know, going to be a great atmosphere, a lot of fun in that first evening to be connecting, reconnecting, or making new connections while you're there at this event. And
that's
again,
a Midwestern girl's dream, by the way. Like, We call it bags in Wisconsin. So we either call it cornhole or bags.
Okay.
And it's always, yeah. So
All right.
that's gonna be a fun time.
So are you perhaps sandbagging here, and I should be putting money on you to win the tournament?
I mean, I didn't say I was very good at it. I mean, I guess it just depends if I drink a lot of moonshine, how good I'll be. But yeah, it's a fun barbecue game here. It's an awesome and
game on. I'll be
so it's also like so some people will fill the bags with sand, and I guess that's not how you're supposed to play it. You're actually supposed to fill it with corn, and it's supposed to be easier to like throw it if it has corn in there. I just learned that. So yeah.
I didn't know it either. I want to try to maybe partner with you because I am not very good. If you can carry the team, we'll do that. But that's always a lot of fun. You know, we've got other things, content. We've got some great highlight speakers. Tony Gunn speaking. We got a special session with Dan Janka from Mazak, as well as Doug Wood from AMT. Many of us are going to be at IMTS in a couple of years. Doug is in charge of all of that from what they do at AMT. He's a phenomenal speaker. He has great insights in our industry. And so that's the kind of content we're going to get that most times you don't. So that's exciting. Our industry influencers are going to be there. So Drew Crow, Tony Gunn, Paul Van Matry from Pro Shops and others. So great highlights there. We're going to end Friday night. So two things. We're going to be ending our session Friday night. There'll be no content on Saturday morning. There'll be a breakfast for travelers, but no content. So the closing event Friday night is going to be at the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum. And so, there's such overlap when you look at between what music does and musicians and what we do in manufacturing. Musicians start with an idea, start with a song and a few lyrics and develop it into a song. And it may go on to become a major hit by a major artist. We make parts that go into things that are very important in the lives of everyday Americans. And so, when you think about that, it's fascinating. And so one of the programs that we've done this year is we engaged with Tony Arata. He's singer-songwriter from Nashville, singer-songwriter, Nashville Music Songwriter Hall of Fame. So he has been touring the country, seeing a number of our members, and he's been learning about what's our industry like from the profile or the viewpoint of a professional storyteller, somebody that's never been introduced or exposed to our industry. And it's been fascinating to do that. We just finished a trip to Pittsburgh and Meadville, Pennsylvania a couple of weeks ago. So Tony's going to be sort of the keynote show. There's going to be a show involved. He's going to be singing some of his songs in addition to this, but he's going to be sharing that experience on what he has learned through the eyes of a professional storyteller. Because one of the things we've learned is we're great at making parts down to 10,000ths and even millionths of precision. We're not always good at telling our story. And it's an important story that needs to be told, because our country depends on what we do and what our industry does. And so that's, we're going to be sharing about that program this year. There's, there'll be a band to close out the evening. And of course, we're going to be in Lower Broadway for the rest of the night. So I think it'll be a lot of fun for everybody that's going to be coming.
That's amazing. That all sounds fantastic. I love Tennessee. Like, I want to move there eventually because I just think it's a great state. The food is wonderful. The atmosphere is fantastic. And the people are just really, really nice. I love it there. So I'm looking forward to that. Kristen's dropping a bunch of information on here where you can register. And then she's also giving some more details about the content and networking events. I know that Tony Arata, he wrote one of the best songs out there for Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited. Oh, was I not supposed to say that? Sorry.
That's one of the interesting things in this is where we've gone to chapters, have met people. We've been 5 different chapter locations, probably 25 different companies. There was one person that heard the name Tony Arata and immediately came up and said, "You wrote The Dance by Garth Brooks." Most people don't know that. And it's like what our industry is about. People don't know the parts that we make that go into something very important, whether it's an airplane part that helps get you to Nashville, or the mold that makes a steering wheel for the car that you drive,
Yeah.
or the equipment that's used for the food to produce the food that we eat, or the tractors that plow the fields for that. There's so many things about our story that's important.
Yeah.
And so he's got a great perspective on what he has learned.
I like that connection that you're making. I just knew that because I'm kind of a country nerd with the Garth Brooks. Like I listened to him religiously when he was around. So that's the only reason why I knew that. But yeah, I'm super excited for all of these events and just meeting people. Ashley and Salim, I want to get your thoughts on like, what are you most excited about for this year's Engaged Conference?
I'll go first. You want me to go first again?
Yes,
okay. So for me, I'm most excited about connecting with new people, and then with people I already know. So it's kind of again, even better the second year, I think, too, because I know those people are going to be there. It's going to be great. But also one of my favorite sessions too, and just listening. So we have a guy named Omar. So he speaks for the NTMA, and he tells, again, I think what I need the NTMA to do, and what I love it, is it just pulls me again out of the business. And so Omar shows me like the bigger picture too, and he'll tell me different policy, and like I love it too because he's very bipartisan. And he will say like, okay, if this happens, then this is going to affect your business. And if this happens, it's going to affect your business. So I'm really interested to hear what he has to say, especially in October, so it's prior to the election. So I kind of want to, it's like, it's not really insider information, but it's like, ooh, he knows a lot more of it, and he studies that stuff. So it's good for me to know and feel the pulse too of our country and what's coming, and again, he's just telling us from a manufacturing standpoint how to plan and to know what the outcomes could possibly be. And again, I loved last time he did it, he kind of just had like a flow chart. Like if this candidate gets in, you can expect XYZ. If this candidate gets in, you can expect XYZ. And then one of the major things too, is he was like different industries to market to, he was like, make sure that you're marketing to the defense, or make sure you're marketing to green energy, depending on the different candidates. So I thought that was awesome. And I love his accent too. So I'm really looking forward to listening to him. And then just those shop tours are great to see what other people are doing. We think that, oh, I can't solve that problem because, I've tried it 100 different ways. And then you go to a shop tour and you're like, oh, they're just using a cart for that. I should do that too. You're like, oh, why didn't I think of that? So it just gives you ideas that you didn't know you needed to have. So I love that. And then I'm going to say, but the bus ride to the plant tour, you never know who you're going to sit next to. And then just the conversation that you have on the way over there too is just great. So open up on the way over to the bus tour. You never know. Tell the problems you're having. Again, these are our people. So if we can't open up to each other, you're just alone in this fight, and we are not alone. We are together. We're fighting for American manufacturing. Let's fight together and have a great conversation on the bus tour, on the bus ride over. So those really are those 3 things that I'm stoked about. I can't wait.
Awesome. Yeah. What about you, Salim?
Everything she said, of course. But also, I think that I'm excited to learn more about where we are in bringing manufacturing to Main Street, right? Where are we, and what can we do as a community of manufacturers to kind of like stop flying under the radar so much, right? So the guy that wrote the song and nobody knows who it is, everybody needs to know how great a career in manufacturing is.
Mm-hmm.
How awesome that somebody could be proud again to go and become a machinist or a guy in automation or a gal in welding, right? And so I wanna see where we are with that. See the people that we met last year, and of course the tours are amazing. I mean, just it humbles you, right? To see what people are doing at a level that could only reach the imagination for you before. So, and overall, everybody's a fascinating person here, right? And so we wanna get into every one of these universes and understand what can we do to make this even more awesome and to project it to everybody else that have no clue about what we do every day.
Gillen, you have to be looking forward to something on the agenda, even though you are part of the planning process. Is there something that you're like definitely overly excited about?
Other than just being in Nashville, Tennessee.
The hot chicken.
I'm excited about the timing in this year in particular. I shared earlier about the COVID sickness that we've had, and it seems like we as a country we're full strength, and so it's that chance to really come back together and really put the attention on the relationships that we can develop. You know, when you attend Engage, you have two choices. You can sit back and sit by yourself, or you can actually go out and engage with others to learn. It's what you, to some degree, it's what you put into it. We are very friendly, very open, but there has to be a little effort that everybody makes to realize the potential. And, you know, we have our stories, right? You know, Salim, you were talking about, you know, we've got to educate our industry. That's what the Tell Our Story program has been all about, to start saying, what do we need to do differently? And everybody has great stories. In fact, Ashley, when you see Omar, ask him about his family history and how far back he can trace his family roots.
Okay.
It's fascinating.
I will definitely ask him that.
I'll bring it. We're all making a note.
Yeah. And so Megan, you know, so what am I looking forward to most? It's just that we have the opportunity to come together in a great location at this particular point in time, and we've got some great content put together. And I think it's going to be one of the best conferences, the best engagements that we've had for our members, you know, certainly in the last 5 years, you know, since 2020, we've been in that. So that's what I'm looking forward to most.
Well, I'm super excited to join this year because I'm a tech writer by trade for industrial manufacturing and engineering. So I'm all about like asking too many why questions, maybe too many unfiltered questions, getting really personal with the people that I talk to write stories about. And it sounds like there's going to be a ton of stories there that people are willing to share and stuff. So I'm super excited about that. I do want to take this chance to thank all three of you for taking time out of your busy days. I know manufacturing can get really busy, but before I let you go, I do have one final question for all three of you. I like to let my guests ask our audience a question. So what would your one ask be for our audience today? Ashley, I'm going to start with you since you're in the upper right-hand corner.
Sure. Okay. And again, I'm newer to the NTMA. So, and just looking back on the, you know, I guess it's 18 months since I've joined the NTMA, my question for the audience would be, how could you or your business benefit from having a network of peers? So that's it. How could you or your business benefit from that?
I like it. Salim, you're up next. What's your ask?
Yeah, similar. I think that I will ask, you know, what would it take for you to decide to engage in the community of manufacturers that we live in?
Great question. And then Gillen, what's your ask?
Well, with all that has been shared on this this episode, my question is simple. It's like, what keeps you from engaging with us in Nashville in October?
I love it. Those are all really great questions. Well, thank you three for joining me again on today's episode of Mavens of Manufacturing. Real quick, if anybody has specific questions for you directly, what is the best way they can connect with you and ask those questions? Ashley, we'll start with you. We'll just go around again.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can send me an email for sure. It's just a hunsaker@htscoatings.com. You can find that on our website too, but that'd probably be the easiest. Or I'm on LinkedIn too, so you can send me a LinkedIn message. I don't check that as often as my email, but you can definitely send that if you wanted to.
Awesome. How about you, Salim?
Yeah, same. LinkedIn. I think that pretty easy to find there, but my email is s.awad@spinnrnorthamerica.com. And of course, our website is spinnrcnc.com.
Gotcha. And then Gillen, you're the last one.
Well, email is probably the best. Gillen.young@customtoolinc.com. And I am in LinkedIn. I'm not as active in responding to that. I'm a little more old school email kind of guy, but or reach out to me through the national office of NTMA, search me up. But happy to connect anyway.
Or register for the Engage Conference and meet you in person, and then they can get your business card.
Absolutely, yeah.
They can do all that. That's the only way. Otherwise, it's not taken. Well, thank you three again for joining me today. For all those who are in the audience tuning in, we appreciate your ears and support. I hope you guys have a wonderful Manufacturing Monday. If you are struggling to find your brand voice and not too sure on how to share your story, stay tuned because we have a sponsor who might be able to help you out with that. Have a great Monday, everyone. Bye.
See you in Nashville.
Bye.
This episode of Mavens of Manufacturing has been sponsored by Z Ink Solutions. Z Ink Solutions. This isn't your grandmother's copywriting service. We provide copywriting and copy editing services that provide impactful text and memorable storytelling for a variety of brands and industries. Contact us today at zinkSolutions.com. That's z-inksolutions.com.